2.
We live?
We live, baby doll.
Who are you?
I am Marcelian.
I am Flame. In 3, 2, 1. Black screen. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Sorry for the lateness. It's 30 minutes late, but I had some personal things to attend to.
I had to take a shit.
And Flame also. He always needs to take a shit. But first things first, as always, are we synced with the voices? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it good enough?
Voice.
Hey, Makti!
That's 1,000 milliseconds, man.
I mean, no, I think we're fine if it's 1 second.
I'm just clapping because I love you guys.
But maybe some folks from the chat can also confirm.
So bad. Delayed. Okay, so
it's super bad, super delayed.
We're currently at 250 ms. Do we go negative?
I think so. Go 500. Go for the 500 that they have.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Bow!
Hey, Mokti, how is it now? Look at the stream. Stream.
Perfect.
Are we good? We good? Okay, we need
like a glove.
we need confirmation from the chat as well. Is everybody happy
perfect
with
from
us?
chat too.
All right, cool. So, crazy week, I would say this week, because we had a lot of things happening.
Yeah, we do. We did for sure.
And I think we missed a couple of very, very awesome things that have been announced last week, but they were announced after we did our wrap up. So we didn't catch them, live to talk about them, but I think it's only fair to look at them because I feel like not a lot of people got hyped by a couple of things that were announced, or datamined, should I say, last week. So we definitely go through that. Obviously, the season is out. We have the normal and heroic raid. We have M0s. We have delves all the way up to whatever you can push on.
And we definitely have the podcast recorded, right?
No, not necessarily, but it's good. It's a good thing.
Had a feeling.
Yeah, it's a good thing because we take the clips and we cut the intros. So it's
fine.
good.
Fuck the intros. Who cares about the intros? Because this will be VODed on the Marcelian&Flame channel, which the link is in the description for the YouTube people. If you're on YouTube, leave a like and subscribe. We love you.
Yeah, you better do that, okay? Because I'm watching you. And also, like, all of the comments and questions and whatever you have to add during this podcast, we'll look at it at the end of it, okay? So don't worry or don't feel you're getting ignored or something like that when, we're going through this. It's not that. It's just we're trying to focus on the topics, and then we're going to take all of your input at the end of the show. So as I was saying, crazy week, and I kind of like did the thumbnail that way because it's like that 20-year anniversary is really crazy with all the characters, and it felt like just to portray it because a lot of things were happening. We didn't even address the 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
What we decided with that is we're gonna make like super dedicated videos specifically for the class changes. That's one thing for the PTR testing and all of that. And once we do have palpable stuff to transmog, because that's a thing, we'll definitely gonna go. Yeah, you see, that's good. Lower your shit.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
it's just put.
I'll just
Relax, man.
Just
you have to relax.
Just crank it.
Okay, there you go. Okay, now see, this is a relaxed show. Okay. All right, let's go over everything we're going through today. So you see in my screen, right? If I'm gonna open up the
it's very tiny for me. Don't rely on me. Just shoot it.
You're not gonna.
It's like this big. It's like so big.
Oh man. Okay. All right. No problem. Let's have it like this. So first things first. What we didn't cover last week, but I think it's very, very important. I don't know how many of you guys noticed this, but we do have some very nice data mined situations going on, specifically for the trading post. Now, trading post, yes.
That I missed.
Yeah, you better mute that.
Perfect. Son of a...
Yeah.
Hello,
so
everybody.
trading post is that thing where you play the game and you get tenders. Now, Blizzard obviously introduced tenders into some promotions, so they want to make some money out of that. That's fine. But we did have a couple of data mining stuff over there. And the first thing is, with all of the anniversary coming up and with the Dark Rangers, what are you doing?
I'm not on camera. You don't. They cannot see shit.
You cannot see this clown over here. So talking about the transmog, obviously for all of those hunter enjoyers, Dark Ranger, we finally get the Sylvanas transmog.
I'm full screen this.
This is, and okay, you can see it on an elf, but check it out on the human.
I actually haven't seen these. Ooh, baby.
Right.
Show me that belly button.
All right. Okay.
This is a gold share human. I know for sure.
Let's look at it in detail. Okay, so this is the you can listen, if you're gonna be a human hunter, which you will be,
you can belly dance.
It's gonna be great. But jokes aside, I think this is a long overdue. I know there's a lot of Sylvanas Sims still.
Oh, for sure.
I think she was a pretty great character overall. They did her bad, I think.
Until she wasn't.
Yeah, but the transmog looks awesome. Like if you're gonna have like a Blood Elf Hunter and have the rock this on, this is gonna be amazing. And apparently this is going to be trading post stuff. So this is not gonna be part of some sort of like, usually when you have transmogs like these, you kind of have to go through a little bit of an achievement run, a couple of quests here and
like
there.
the Dark Ranger customization thing. I think there was like a quest line for elves.
Yeah, well, that we'll get to that also.
Oh.
But this is gonna be 850 tenders. All right, this is
the whole set. That's not that bad.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So this is gonna be one of the big ones. Now we don't know when this will come. We can speculate that this will be available on the trading post probably in October, because that's when we speculate that 11.0.5 is also going to drop. You know, the anniversary patch. So it only makes sense, and it makes sense because the Sylvanas transmog will really mesh well with the Dark Ranger changes and visual updates.
God.
We'll check the visual updates as well.
Oh my God, we need to touch on that eventually.
Yeah, okay. But also we have the variant low cost transmog.
This was on the shop.
Yeah, but it was on the shop, but it was the one the more tan brown theme, right?
Oh, wasn't this the exact same?
No. It was just the brown tan thing. Now it's with many other colors, and I think this is a recurrent situation with the trading post. There are a lot of like former store things they're now putting in the
that's good.
That's yeah, it's really good, and I love this. The
dude, like that style of shoulder pads that looks so good. That can actually oh my God, you get a sword too.
Yeah, let's look at this.
This can look at an orc so much well, because everything on orc just floats above you. Like you know, you're playing an orc.
I know, and I hate it. One of the biggest struggles playing an orc is, you know, finding good ass shoulders to put in, because you can either have them like really, really big, or
you don't see your character sideways.
It's weird, okay? But this is promising, and the set is also 850 tenders, and it will also include the weapon. So you have.
I wonder if it's a one-hander.
That's a good question.
I hope it's a one-hander.
Well, it's variant, man.
If it's warrior, it's probably two-hander.
It's a two-hander, yeah.
Because obviously I'm thinking about my protection warrior, but
of course. But you can also think about your arms warrior if you really want.
Well, arms and fury both use two-hander, so it's probably.
Yeah, but again, so things coming to the trading post, so probably all of these will come into October. But these ones, I think these are coming.
I remember these. I saw these actually.
Yeah, these are coming. I think they're coming maybe November, December, because it doesn't really make sense. Or does it?
I know there's a bunch of Wintervale stuff, and I mean this is cool. What I'm actually liking is that they are getting more liberal with the cosmetics for the headpiece, because headpiece can I should be able to wear a scarf and a pair of glasses, or some glasses and a helmet, right? But now they're all like one piece. Maybe they can keep adding cosmetic stuff that doesn't take up a slot or something.
Hold on, I hate this. I hate this. Your head being cut off. Hold on. Let me check. Let me check your. No. Stay normal. Stay normal, and I'll see who are you. Okay, that's me. That's you. Look at him. Let me fix your ass. All right. See. Okay.
Perfect.
Fixing it on the fly.
Fixing it. This is UC Live tech support being done here at Marcelian&Flame. We are our own production crew and MCs.
And MCs. Right, so we have the earmuffs, and I believe, okay, so you mentioned the Wintervale stuff. Now, we're not going to cover that here because I think that's blasphemy. We're not talking about Christmas during this time of year. When the time comes, we're going to talk about the Wintervale transmogs. But for now, I think these are okay to talk about because they're Horde and Alliance. That's all cool. Sure. 170 tenders, pretty decent. There's also this pet, which I really didn't care much for it, but it's a recolor. There's a monthly reward for this pet. Pokey shit. Yeah. But also the Reigns of the Twilight Scout Prowler. This used to be on the Battle.net store as well. 750. Yeah. 750 tenders. I mean, it's a fox.
And it's too purple. It's not. Listen, you like it. I'm fine. I'll keep riding my beasts.
Hey. it has like almost a heart shape on its forehead, and that is Warcraft. But listen, okay, apart from like the Sylvanas transmog and variant transmog and all that, what I really like is the new hoods coming. So there's a bunch of new hoods coming around. Hoods and capes, but I'm only focusing on the hoods because I love them. Check these boys out.
Oh, right. Oh, dude, this is so rogue, man.
This is perfect. Hopefully we can transmog it as rogues because it gives me Assassin's Creed vibes.
It has to be, right?
I mean, with the mask, and there's so many colors. So these are the blue ones, right? Like more pronounced blue. Ooh. You have the yellow. Look at this one. Look at this one. Is this Ezio from Assassin's Creed? So cool, right? I want this in my life fast. And this is the thing. I don't know when these will get in. But
the red one.
Yeah, the red ones are awesome. The thing for the red one is I wanted to show you the back of it. Because this I always wanted in a cape. See this little triangle in the back?
Yeah, like the cape.
The dingling thing. Yeah,
Dingling.
I love that. And I suspect it's gonna be cloth, but hopefully we can.
Hey, who's running mage?
Yeah, you are. I know. It's only gonna be 100 tenders, so probably
each,
one color.
I would imagine.
Yeah, each. Yeah. So if you want to get
I would imagine they will keep the same color tints that we've been having for the previous hoods because they always match with the cloak that you wear. So they might look different, but I'm pretty sure like it's the same red. Maybe now it just has a couple of extra shades of. Gray.
No, but dude, this is pretty cool. They did such a fantastic job on adding to the trading post all of these capes and different styles of headpieces that or headpiece customizations. But I think see, you remember back in Dragonflame when we had at the trading post those hoods that you can also use on plates as transmog, because our paladins used to have we used to wear that. I think this is the same thing, so you can use this on every.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's probably the way they're gonna keep the colors consistent.
So perfection. I think this is the best design yet. I'm always excited for a nice hood because the thing about these, you can almost use these on any class, make it work somehow. Because a hood, you can have a hooded warrior, you can have a hooded rogue, a hooded mage, hooded hunter, demon hunter. I don't know because the horns. You find out how to. Maybe that works.
There's a part of fantasy that hasn't actually been expressed in WoW except in the last couple of years, starting with Dragonflight, and that is the actual cloak type transmog, where you just wear a cloak and you have it over your head, right? We call it a hood, but normally in a medieval type fantasy game it would be a cloak, and obviously would fall back. I'm thinking Gandalf, right? I'm always thinking Gandalf. When he pulls his hood.
But like that's super wizard.
Okay, not Gandalf. Whatever. Lord of the Rings. Everybody has a cloak, and all of the cloaks go over your head, right? And we don't have that. Like everything is like a little stripe of cloth in between your shoulder blades on your back. Like, give me an actual cloak that like what Arthas has. Right, the actual cloak that goes over his shoulder, like an actual cloak.
Well, I think they still have a couple of more steps to go for that. But overall, I'm pretty happy about this.
We're getting there,
yeah. Pretty happy overall about this. Now, obviously, there's a lot more things that have been data mined for the trading post, but we kind of decided to pick the only stuff like we're more interested in, and by far for me was these hoods and thinking all of the possibilities that we can transmog. Yeah, look for your frost mage, man, for your fire mage. This is perfection.
I just needed one purple one for arcane, but listen, I'll do the.
I think there is also a purple one, or there's a purple attire transmog, something like that.
I can get the fox if anything.
Anyways, it's good times coming for the trading post, and I cannot wait to get that 11.0.5 situation, hopefully in October. But speaking of that Sylvanas transmog, one thing that we didn't talk about at all or enough is the actual changes that are coming to the hunter. Well, not mechanically, but visually. I don't know how many of you folks remember how much we beat the horse dead on the fact that they missed out on so much opportunity and upgrading visuals for the hero talents. Basically, having the cosmetic identity for these hero talents. Well, they kind of did.
I'm excited because I actually haven't seen these yet.
Yeah. Okay. So first things first, right? We have the main reason why everyone will roll hunter in 11.0.5.
Oh my God!
Yeah. This on top of all the hunters changes coming. Okay. This is becoming a true dark ranger. So now, you have the black arrow. Okay, this is basically it was redesigned to replace kill shot.
Yeah.
I'm just like reiterating for people who actually don't know, right? And while it has a smaller visual now, it is used much more often on multiple targets at once. So this is taken from Wowhead, so they shown this gracefully, and god damn it, let's see how it looks. Okay, this is can you see it? Can you see it? Pew.
Yeah,
can you see it?
It's faint. It's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of animation. So this is just the first one, all right?
Okay.
This is for the black arrow. Okay, let's check it out here.
Ooh.
Now you see it better now, right?
Ooh,
I mean,
double shot.
okay, so in comparison to like kill shot, kill shot.
Kill shot doesn't have like a colored animation. It has like
It was like visually, you hit it, but this is like now you see part of the flavor of being a Dark Ranger.
It's definitely better.
Now imagine that one with the Sylvanas transmog, right? Moving along, pound, kill shot.
Reminds me of Sanctum of Domination.
But it also goes on multiple targets, so it's really cool. Now we have the Withering Fire. Now I remember this also from Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. But what happens with it? So what is this translated into WoW? Right. So it's like basically inspired by the Sylvanas appearance in Battle for Azeroth cinematic. The Withering Fire has been reworked to instead empower True Shot and Bestial Wrath. So this is for Beast Mastery marksmanship, right? Not going to go through what this happens, but when you do have it, it's going to be nothing short of amazing because...
Oh my god.
Look at that. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty.
Wow, all right. That's pretty dope.
It is, right? It is. I mean, come on, man! You gotta love it. It's
finally.
You see like when they say the Sylvanas inspired Battle for Azeroth cinematic, you see that on the back, right?
Yeah,
those black wings.
The Banshee things.
So and we can also see it like from the back, like hitting here the multiple targets. Look at that. And you also you have you see the black arrows going. That's like the same concept as Withering Fire from Heroes of the Storm. So this is pretty amazing, man. If they did this for this is what we were talking about. I don't know if they listen to our shows, but if they do, this is what we're talking about. This right here, okay?
This is how you make your hunters happy, man.
Yeah. Okay, so Withering Fire, I think, is the most visually impactful one, but you have to understand, all of these have changes. So there's small ones, which you look at them individually, they're not, oh my God, because not everything is going to be super flashy, bombastic. That would just color it. Yeah, it will color the screen for a hunter. But imagine all of these packed into all of your abilities. And with the team of the Dark Ranger, it fits 100%, even the smaller ones.
It depends a lot on how it's going to be tuned, because if the visual is visually apparent, the visual
is visually visualizable,
yes, and it also does damage, then you actually, when you see it, oh shit, I just did a lot of damage, right? So it's great to actually see an animation and you already know that it's actually really good.
Yeah. Perfection. Okay.
Perfection.
Now, let's see the Shadow Dagger. Now, again, this is inspired from Heroes of the Storm 100%. Now, Shadow Dagger is on a Talon node with Dark Chains and offers a multi-target slow alternative, right? This is like the Shadow Dagger description. Like, while in combat, casting Disengage releases a fan of daggers, dealing blah, blah, blah attack power, shadow damage over time, and reducing the target's movements by 30%. Now, let's see how it looks. Pyong. Ooh. All right. So... you have to see the shadow stuff, pound.
Yeah, the daggers. The whole shadow animation is way better. I don't know, for some reason I expect to see chains, but it's I think that's probably the alternative. The
chains. Yeah, it's
the Bolvar getting chained down.
It's the other talents, but this is like, again, like you have this, you have all of the ones above. It's all super dark purpley themed. I love it to death. There's also Banshee's Mark. Okay, now this is like while you know this. Murder of Crows has now once again returned to marksmanship as a passive proc off of Black Arrow cast, right? Yeah. So Murder of Crows now deals shadow damage. Black Arrow initial damage has a 25% chance to summon a Murder of Crows on your target. Now, of course, they updated this as well because it's Dark Ranger, right? So let's check it out. Look at the crows. Look at the crows.
All right.
They're basically the same crows, but they're dealing blackish damage over there.
It's blackish.
These targets are all clumped up. Like if you have, imagine this: you have like a multi-target, like 5 or 6 target situation, and you proc this. It's gonna be all black smoke over there.
Murder Crows all had a decent animation before anyway, so that's fine. The fact that you can actually proc it is very Banshee themed.
Exactly. Now there's also Shadow Surge. Okay, now Shadow Surge periodic damage from Black Arrow has a small chance to erupt in a burst of dark darkness, dealing shadow damage to all enemies near the target. Okay, damage reduced, but that doesn't matter. But once again, small detail. Look at that. Pew.
Oh, get out. This is actually really cool.
Yeah. So, but again, so this is more visual. But the Murder of Crows is a little bit more subtle.
But it's good because they have contrast, and
exactly.
that's what you want.
You pack them all up like with all of the abilities, and that's when you get like a complete menu.
The alternative is if you know the arcane spellslinger animation where you just show where you shoot out the splinter storms and everything happens. That looks very visually impressive, but you don't really understand if it's from the hero talent or if it's just another arcane stuff. This is very obvious that it's coming from the Dark Ranger, and Dark Ranger is just like Giga Chat across the board.
Gotta love it. This is why they're gonna.
They remade 7 out of the 10 talents.
That on top, so that's
8 out of the 11.
They really went all out with the Hunter. There's also bleak powder, which initially I read as black powder.
Oh, I thought you mispronounced it just now. I was like, what bleak powder?
It's bleak powder. So casting Black Arrow while Beast Cleave is active causes Black Arrow to explode upon hitting a target, dealing shadow damage to nearby targets. Okay. For Marksman, it's casting Black Arrow while Trick Shot is active. Causes Black Arrow, same thing, right? So this is for Beast Cleave on BM and for Trick Shots on Marksman. So what does this do? It basically looks like this when it procs. There it is.
Oh,
all right.
I would have guessed this would be Withering Fire the way it looks.
Yeah,
because it reminds me more of the Heroes of the Storm animation.
So this is the thing, right? We'll need to get these on the PTR and properly test them visually to see, because I can once again 100% reassure you, all of these packed up. So even the more subtle ones, it's gonna be like even like the first one, Black Arrow, which you didn't really see that bombastic. It's just shooting from your. But imagine all of these in your rotation flowing. You feel like a Dark Ranger.
Yeah, we definitely need to test it because Killshot doesn't have a visually impressive animation, but it has a very, very powerful sound effect.
Yeah.
It sounds very medium and like you're destroying something like a bomb.
I mean, Killshot should be pretty decent. Withering Fire, yeah. So when you're talking about Withering Fire, I think we're pretty much spoiled because of Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, but the animation is like, this is the most visually.
This is fine. One. I thought they were gonna do it like in Heroes of the Storm. And Heroes of the Storm is much better because there's there's Banshees of Sylvanas coming in with every arrow and she's shooting in a bunch of times. That would be very, very cluttery. That's how you lose your FPS. Do you want to lose your FPS? Because that's how you lose your FPS.
You don't lose your FPS in a MOBA, Flame. That's not
no,
how
but if we had that in WoW,
imagine.
Imagine our 4 hunters all popping that at the same time.
Oh my god!
The game would freeze. What are you talking about?
We already have issues right now on
Ansrek. Well, Ansrek and Overnax, I think we had like giga frame drops.
Yeah, there's a couple of bosses where, oh boy.
Oh, hello.
Right. Ready for a little bit of drama?
Oh, I've been giggling the last couple of days about this drama.
So there's not, obviously there cannot be a cycle of new Race to World first or a cycle of anything without some drama here. So obviously we had some bans going out for a couple of I'm gonna make this clear. It's not only Race to World for
no,
Race to World
but they're the scapegoats. They're they were made the example.
Exactly. Also, they are known to do this. Like anytime there's something of an exploit to be made, they do it. We're gonna talk about it earlier in this. So Blizzard issued 4-day suspensions to players from the Race to World First guilds for exploiting Renown. While the exact player count is unknown, approximately 67 Echo players and 9 to 10 Method members were suspended. I think also somebody from Liquid, 1 or 2, smaller amount, along with many others not necessarily involved in the race. So there were also people, like reports on Reddit and on Twitter, people feeling that they were wrongly treated. Regarding the Race to World First, suspended players will miss on their bountiful chests from the bountiful dells, despite having stocked up copper keys. This is basically, so this started on Wednesday, I believe. On Tuesday, because on Friday tomorrow, on Friday they're gonna all come back to the race. So just keep that in mind, right? So they won't be able to grant the daily Mythic Zeros dungeons, and other activities until Friday. However, this isn't a significant setback as champion track gear will become obsolete starting next week. We know this already. All right. Now, the most significant impact on the race will be that a large portion of both Echo and Method cannot begin their split heroics run this week. So, I mean,
this
sure,
is a big one.
this will affect how quickly they obtain their gear upgrades and ultimately their progress to mythic difficulty next week. Now, from what we understand, a lot of them already reached out to other players, like to help out with the split runs and stuff. So it's not all good, but there are a couple of key members in those rosters.
I mean, we can probably talk about it. I'm a little bit bummed about Method because I really wanted a dark horse, an underdog to come into the Race World first and like kick it.
But
and
Method won a couple of Race to World first, man.
Well, you know, they won years of Race World first until
the last one they won was Battle for the Zalaro. I think that was the last.
Yeah,
one.
but that was before they won. What do you mean? They won almost all of them before
the
that.
last one. I'm saying.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Since then, and we've been seeing like this back and forth between Liquid and Echo. And also, I'm a little bit surprised if Liquid members were banned because I think
one or two.
Max said very publicly that he strictly is telling. I mean, I might be paraphrasing, but he's strictly telling his people never to exploit stuff like this. But it's also from a point of view, it's hard not to when you're in such a high-end competitive situation where every little bit counts. It can save you an hour or two, and that can matter when you're very neck and neck. Whenever the last boss gets killed within an hour or two of each other. So I get it why they feel like they have to, because if you're not exploiting and I am exploiting and nobody does anything, then I'm going to be ahead, right?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. This is not the first time this has happened. This happens on all of the almost all Race to World. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a non-disclosed do this, but nobody really talks about it. Because Scribe made a tweet, Scribe from Beko made a tweet, I think 2 or 3 years ago regarding exactly this. So the reason why all of the big Race to World First guilds do these type of exploits is, one, they are not fixed up until the game is released. That's why you have PTR and betas. And two, the punishments for these are always soft. This is what Scribe said 2 or 3 years ago regarding this. Now, the problem here is, one, they clearly did not test like every inch of the detail, and we get to exactly what the exploit is. Basically, in Ashka with selecting 2 generals and selecting 2, not generals, 1 general, 1 other thing, like from the whole 4th reputation track guys. And you basically double dip on all of the reputation.
Oh, I thought there was also a multi-boxing exploit.
No. We'll get to it. But regardless, so one issue is the fact that Blizzard doesn't really go all in out to test every inch of it, knowingly so that if something is going to be not fully working as intended, a lot of Race to World First guilds will exploit it. Secondly, I think this is the major issue here. They have issued suspensions, okay? So they're not bans, okay? The term is called ban. You're banned for 4 days, but that's not a ban. When you're talking about ban, you're banned. Bye. It's a suspension for 4 days. So they cannot play for 4 days. Now, take it as you want, but that feels soft. That type of punishment will encourage all of the guilds to do the same exact thing in a couple of months from now when the next raid tier opens up.
If an exploit can save you more than 4 days, then you're gonna kind of weigh that in against the consequences.
Exactly. Of course, some people didn't really take it to lightly. I would say we have like Gingy that was a little bit under fire on his Twitter, but we did have like a screenshot from the Race to World for Discord from Zorbix. This is a WoW dev, and he posted this on their Discord.
All right.
This was like before the reset, before the first day of the season, right? So it reads out like this. Greetings. As you may have already noticed, we are in the process of issuing suspensions for accounts that took advantage of specific loopholes that allowed faster than intended progress on the Severed Threads Renown track. Okay, I was looking for the name.
Yeah.
This is being done for everyone who took advantage. But because this is an issue that will be part of particular interest to the folks here, this is Race to Our First Discord. Once again, we wanted to provide extra content. The extra renown everyone's gained will be taken away by the time suspensions end. So not only,
there we go, yeah.
So not only did they get their suspension on Friday, but they also roll back everything they gained.
Yeah.
The advantage you would get from getting that renown it's very small. Like you would get like maybe a couple of crafted pieces and
you'd get the crest. I think most people did.
And crest. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is not a step we take lightly, but more integrity demands that there be consequences beyond just rolling back gains. This has happened in the past, by the way. So there
Yeah,
were.
we just had that with Brand last week, where they re-rolled Brand's XP from 60 to 50.
That's in general. I'm talking about situations where there was exploits from the top guilds on different mechanics, and the punishment was rolling back what they gained. So there was no bans, no spending. Okay, so they're clearly taking some steps over there. Okay, so there to be consequences beyond just rolling back gains, or where we're just incentivizing competitive players to take immediate advantage of every exploit they find. Sincere thanks to those of you who helped bring these issues to our attention, and best of luck to all in the race ahead. Okay, so they kind of, give them the heads up, guys.
They have to escalate the punishments to kind of signifies like, listen, if you still don't think this is enough, next time we're upping up the scales. And to be clear, I am in favor of punishment for exploits. I mean, I understand why people do it from a competitive perspective. You kind of half feel forced, half not really. It's like a moral thing. But also, dude, that's how you create the degenerate gameplay. That's how you create situations where I guess people exploit XP gains and they level really quick, like it was at the beginning of the expansion, where Blizzard just rolled back.
But who's to blame?
Gains. Well,
this is like the chicken and the egg.
Okay, it's kind of like twofold. First of all, if you're exploiting, you're exploiting. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Unless you're like this new player that just came in, is like, for some reason feels really great, and you don't really think about it, right? That's like the odd exception, the devil's advocate. But if you're a seasoned WoW player, you know what's going on. You're not fooling anybody, right?
And Blizzard knows as well.
Yeah. The thing is, I think probably the biggest culprit here is Blizzard. The fact that they didn't enforce a policy of like, what is it? No exceptions, no orders given every time. Like no exceptions. Ban or suspend everybody for everything. Because if that was the case, then everybody was like, fuck no, this is an exploit. I know they're gonna probably fuck us up. Let's not just do it. But there's also like as you said, because it wasn't tested or something, people tested it on beta most likely, and they didn't say anything because
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about the internal testing in Blizzard, the the QA team and all of that, because
that's a good point, because there's so much to test, but that just probably proves that their QA team is not big enough.
Yeah, well, again, who's to blame? Who's to blame, and how warranted are these suspensions? Anyways, so we have like Relo here, posted on Twitter. This, I guess they did something about it. Lol. This is basically a screenshot of him getting suspended. Don't really agree that getting 2 pack quests once is enough to get caught in the crossfire compared to what others did. But oh well, I guess I cannot complain. I don't know what others did, but this is the main thing: the pack quests. This is what I was saying.
There were some clips of Gingy multi-boxing on 3 characters to turn in the severed threads reputation.
Yeah. So that was one thing he said. Then really about Tem, that is no longer worth exploiting. This is his initial tweet. I don't even mean to point fingers at anyone because there are so many small things. It's always worth abusing because the punishment isn't enough. This he also says this.
Okay.
People need to be scared of losing their account when exploiting. Okay, so this is reload. I mean, come on. Now also Gingy was a little bit upset here regarding the RWF bans. Everyone in our guild didn't even exploit their reputation. This again, 7 to 8 people that got suspended in Echo. Okay, any additional rep that they got was from playing 2 characters when they did the campaign the first time and got extra rep as a result of that without even knowing they did anything wrong. That is the basic exploit. Okay, I was the only one that got extra rep by picking 3 generals in 1 week from the severed threads. Kind of crazy that anyone other than me got hit with a ban. To be honest, I was also surprised he didn't get suspended. So it's very. This is why it's very. Gingy wasn't suspended.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's very weird. Okay, so
the system is. I mean, we know the system their system has been flawed, especially if it's automated.
Super.
We know the memes with Asmongold telling his raids like, guys, all of you report me now, and then Asmongold in like 30 seconds was kicked out of the game. Yeah. So if it's automated, then that's kind of sucks. But also at the same time, if it's not automated, how can they ever manage to track so many people? So obviously at the end of the day, we don't care. That's their job to figure it out, and we shouldn't have to pay the price for it. It's definitely not perfect, and I feel like at the end of the day, it's mostly Blizzard's fault. And then this goes the same way with the experience nerf as well. Although I don't think we should have leveled that fast. The fact that they rolled back after a bunch of people already leveled in the early access,
it was stupid.
Whenever they change that just feels bad for the people who didn't actually get in time to get that, and it just leaves a bad taste feeling in everybody's mouth, and I don't think that usually solves the problem. Ideally, we should live in a world where they can pick that up before the game goes live. There was so much time to do it. Well, actually, there wasn't, because our beta testing cycle was pretty short this time around. We said it was going to be pretty short, and things like this will happen.
But to be fair, it wasn't super dramatic. I mean, we've been through rougher times after beta cycles
all
and
things
launches.
considered,
All
this
things
beta
considered,
was really good.
Exactly. We also have a clip here from Cruella, who is actually like on stream getting the ban hammer. So Cruella was just chilling around doing her thing, getting ready for Cruella is from Meta, by the way. And she was basically, farming dust and all of that. And at one point, screen froze.
What's going on?
Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? She's French, by the way. And look, see, so this was live. Everybody caught this, right? And she didn't understand, right? I think that she checking their phone probably already, communications.
Using Google
was like, oh my God, we're getting banned. What the hell? Right. So just to wrap up the whole exploit and ban situation, I think Blizzard is a little bit iffy on going on all-out banning all of these, because if we were to be like real here and go for like the big punishment, they would really fuck up some organizations. I mean, when do you stop being corporate machine and you start thinking about, because Race to World First has nothing to do with Blizzard. Blizzard does not support this. They endorse it, but they don't help with anything ever. Yeah. Right? Well, the only thing that they did was all of those races to BlizzCon back in the day when they put guilds to fight off each other. That was a long time ago. But Race to World First, this is not something that has been supported or helped in any way by Blizzard at all. This is nothing. You don't see any Blizzard logo over there, nothing. So they have nothing to do with it. But when you look at these suspensions and bans, they could go all in, because they did. I remember PvP times when they banned accounts for. What was this? What was his name? I think even Swifty got banned at some point for a couple of months. Athene, Rekful, rest in peace. Rekful got his account banned forever, man.
Oh shit!
And he was like even on stream calling Blizzard support and all that. I don't remember I think what he did was playing other people's accounts, which is very big no.
Yeah.
But once again, if you're going to apply a template, apply it to everybody. This is what I'm saying. And my question is like, okay, you have these big organizations. This is one aspect. And all of these big organizations, Echo, Method, Liquid, they're also backed up by other big organizations as well, like all of the sponsors, right? So everybody's all in, scheduling, budgeting, sponsoring, monies, people.
There's a lot of money moving around.
There's a lot of money being invested into that. And then comes Blizzard and says, that team is banned. That team is banned. This is over, man. The Race to World First is over, and all that amount of money and people are. So does Blizzard take into account this?
They probably. Do
you think?
I mean, obviously they don't. They don't endorse it necessarily, but they're profiting from it. It brings awareness to the game. It makes people excited for the game. It makes people that might have held off on playing WoW maybe play it at launch, because Race to World First let's get into the hype. Let's get into the vibe of raiding really quick with everybody. So obviously there's some energy there. Obviously there's people probably playing because of the Race World First, definitely watching WoW content, so it's free publicity. Isn't the Race World First across all the streamed channel like the biggest streamed event for WoW?
Yeah, it is.
It's like a bunch of times higher than both MDI and the AWC probably combined.
AWC felt.
Yeah.
It's not even close anymore, man. It is what it is. But yeah, Race to World First is WoW's biggest publicity.
Yeah.
WoW, I mean,
and
free
they don't
publicity.
Pay for it, so
free publicity, exactly. And the streaming numbers do it. And listen, the amount of companies that are getting involved with that, it's crazy. Plus, you have to admit, now it's not the biggest show on the earth now, but when it starts progressing, especially when it gets closer to the end.
Next reset, yeah.
Yeah, the show in and of itself is super cool to watch, especially when guilds get closer and closer to the end.
Yeah.
And when they actually get into the last boss, when usually they discover some mechanics they didn't even know about, or secret mythic mechanics as well. Sometimes that happens. We don't know what will happen. That's cool to see. So as from a show entertaining standpoint, it's awesome. I think it's the best thing they could do. Arenas as esport, we used to love them, but we kind of understand why they fell off season by season. First of all, PvP was a little bit, not taken care of. And also trying to understand what's happening in an arena game while being broadcasted is very difficult
for an uninitiated player. Yeah, but as it stands with raids, like the thing is, in order for you to have like the same type of environment, you would have to have an arena, and they do the same fight like 300 times. Because in that amount of time, people would be able to go over everything that's happening, right? Because that's what happens in a pool. There's like 20 people involved, and obviously they're not talking about each individual cooldown as it happens. So they're eventually going to like, the mages are doing this at this point. The warriors are charging in here and stuff like that. So because that happens on pool 27 and then on pool 58 and stuff like that. So it's a totally different environment for sure.
Yeah, and to be fair, we discussed this. Like raiding still is the supreme end game of World of Warcraft. This is true.
It's true for most MMOs.
I'm not going to talk about it because in WoW you also have the Mythic Plus situation, and to some capacity now it's a new expansion, it's different. But remember our talks in Dragonflight Season 3 and 4. I think the biggest activity was Mythic Plus. I think most
like
players
that for years.
Yeah. So
it's more accessible.
But the amount of viewership and publicity you get for the MDI is not the same as race first. No. See, so this is interesting to see, because also in the MDI you also have like the top players competing. So you get this competition, but when it comes to rating, I feel like that is more of like the top of the top. Even better than what you would see in MDI. It's really curious because a lot of much more players follow and do Mythic Plus than rating. This is
that is
not now. Not speaking about a new expansion. Like talking about mid expansion. More people are doing Mythic Plus than rating. Now, why would people all tune in more to watch rating than MDI? What do you think?
Well, I would. The first thing that comes to mind is that there's more classes and specs playing into the race, so there's a bigger chance that you would resonate with a player there, as opposed to MDI that just has the same 5 specs across like 25 teams, and there's like maybe one class difference.
That's the problem.
That's one side, and probably because the meta for raid is a little bit more
it
relaxed,
involves a lot more, yes,
as opposed to the Mythic Plus, which is very set in stone. It's like these 5 classes, and maybe with a sideboard 6 class, and that's about it. And if you don't have these, you don't get to play in MDI. But as for raids, like people can off spec. You can bring in a DK for this fight, and you can have a
bring the DK.
One.
Yes,
yeah, the grips. So I can definitely see that. I mean, and to be fair, probably the problem is that we're doing so much M plus and it's such a repeatable content, and we probably get more tired of seeing it as opposed to the raid, which is is the A bosses that you only get to kill once per week, as opposed to the dungeon that you can farm like endlessly.
That's also true. I think I think that's a very, very sensitive subject. Like not all. Well, I would say the biggest majority of players who do raid don't actually get to do at least the last 2 bosses of a mythic raid. So that's probably another incentive, right? And they can see the dungeons, maybe not at the highest key levels,
The dungeons are the same.
Yeah, the same, yeah. But how many of the raid crowd, I would say the mid to casual to mid raiding crowd is actually seeing the fights on Mythic on the last 2 bosses of raid.
That's
Not
true.
many, right?
That's true. So we kind of have to cross-reference it to actual sports, right? Because there is definitely a parallel or a tangent there as well. Sure. Because part of the reason why people are entranced by sports is that you get to see people do stuff that you cannot do, and you have a vague idea of how hard it is to do that thing.
And you appreciate it, and you're curious.
Because you've played, most likely people who like to watch sports, they've played that sport, or they play it very casually, kind of like how we play WoW, right? And when you see that dude just run like 10 seconds faster than you're like, holy shit, that was so awesome, right? But when you see that in MDI, you don't have the chance to see it. Everything happens so fast. There's too many point of views, and the whole combat ends in like what, 17, 20, 23, 24 minutes, as opposed to a raid that lasts for hours.
Exactly. Yeah. So there you go. We uncovered it. It's clear.
The truth has been freed.
The truth shall set you free. And the Blizzard store is also not free.
No, it's not. It's $20 and it comes as a bear.
Okay, so yeah, we have. Usually we don't cover this, but this is amount that I really like, and from what I understand, you also really like.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was thinking about it, but
we hate the fact that it's in the store mode. We hate the idea of mounts on the store. We wholeheartedly oppose them. I would love for these mounts to be in game and us to work for it. Thank you very much.
I do have to say that this is the smartest mount they could have put into the store because it's a very practical mount.
It's
that
very
everybody
practical.
uses.
Yes, it is.
And the other ones are, well, the Mammoth is not particularly hard, but the only other mount is the Yak that costs 150,000 gold, and you have to do, I don't know if you have to do the repetition in Mr. Pandaria.
No, not anymore. You just get the money.
Oh yeah,
You got the dough, you get it.
The rep used to probably make it cheaper, like it did with the Mammoth, but nobody has time for that. And obviously, for people who cannot be
Nobody got time for that.
people who cannot be bothered to do Mists of Pandaria content, then you're like, oh, I just came home from an 8-hour shift. You mean I can spend $20 and get this instead of having to go to Mists of Pandaria and waste all my gold? Sign me up.
For everybody that is, I don't know, nostalgic, okay, this is, the Grizzly Hills Packmaster, so it definitely gives you some Grizzly.
It says Grizzly Hills, but the bear mount is the reskinned bear. It's a high def mount.
Yes.
New model,
yes,
stuff
yes,
like that.
agree. It's basically a very cool looking and very useful mount. Now, obviously, it comes at a cost of $20/€20. This is like the official screenshot from the store, but we're also going to look into a little bit of its model. So you can transmog and repair, which is basically what every modern WoW player wants to do these days.
Everybody has this on their bar somehow, like the Yak.
All right, so this is the part. This is the purse here. This is where you would keep clicking on download for. Stop it. All right, so you see the purse over here, right? The red purse.
The texture resolution is so cool.
Yeah, this is where you would transmog so cool with that resolution as well. And on the other side, obviously, we have the little anvil.
That's
which,
adorable.
Well, it's a bear. He can carry it, okay? It's, useful. I'm telling you, they're going to make a lot of money on this.
Oh, for sure.
I 100% believe it. Let me open up. So in the wall model viewer part, now it is a little bit like its animation is not the best, and it doesn't have the things here.
The side packs.
Yeah, but this is how it looks. His face is a little bit silly, I'll have to say.
Well, you say that, but he looks more like a bear than most bear models.
I agree. I wanted just a little bit of more angriness to him, but again, they have to cater to everybody. So it's a cool looking mount, man. This is it. You cannot really hate them for making this, but I hate the fact that it's on the store. And I would love if this is the type of mount. It's a big topic to discuss. I know. Ever since they introduced, what was it? The pit. I think it was a pit the celestial something.
Was
something
it in
mount.
Cataclysm or when was
No,
it?
it wasn't Wrath.
Wrath.
It was in that somewhere in the middle to end of Wrath. Ever since they did that, I think this guy, this pirate software guy, which used to work for Blizzard. And
we know pirate software.
Yeah, he mentioned that that mount made more money than a whole year of subscription revenue from something ridiculous like that.
And they're doing even better now.
Oh yeah, so their revenue model has shifted. They still make a lot of money from the subscriptions, obviously, but their real gold mine is the actual store.
Here's a hot take. I don't mind if we keep the store, the shop, with one caveat, and I'll go into that, but I don't mind if we keep this if they keep making the game more awesome as they have been doing in the last 3 or 4 years. If they obviously use a part of this revenue to funnel into, hopefully, maybe a bigger QA team and things like that, hire more people, make the game bigger, give us more content, I'm all fine with paying a little bit more because live service games are not cheap. I mean, we know this, and WoW is getting really big, and I can imagine it takes a lot of money to do WoW. Well, I think in Dragonflight we had triple the content that we had in Shadowlands. Somewhere around that, at least it feels that way, right?
Yeah.
And we're obviously gonna have more in the War Within, and it's the World Soul Saga. So that's the caveat being remove the WoW token. That's I think stop letting us translate real money into gold, and I think that might fix some of the player power, ethical, moral issues.
Well, see, this is the part where I don't agree with Flame. I don't think it's. Explainable or excusable to compensate some store mounts, whatever they may do or look like, or the utility would be, and have that revenue translated into bigger teams. They already make a lot of revenue. This is just being greedy, and we know this. This whole situation with the store mounts and basically buying stuff in game from the store is from Activision. After Activision purchased them and they became Activision Blizzard, that was the time when they introduced the first store mount, Celestial,
Steed.
blah blah blah, Celestial Steed, I think it is. Yeah. So it's very Activision. This was not Blizzard. All of the cool content ever, the most, like, dude, they're recoloring Tier 2. Tier 2 was like one of the best designs at the time, looking gear ever, right?
Yeah.
They used to do this. All of the cool stuff, they used to be in the game. You used to work for it within the game, and it's an MMO. Like, okay, business-wise, I understand why they would go for it now. But the initial seed of this was greed, nothing else. Because World of Warcraft was making a ton of money back then when they first introduced the store mount, the Blizzard store with in-game purchasable stuff. They're making a ton of money now. Now it's a little bit difficult to drop it, or it's a little bit more, how to put this? It's hard to like not put the coolest things on the store because the store is made to sell things, right? I do not agree though that they need to take this money, or they will take this money and funnel into bigger QA teams, or no. They have enough money for that. This used to go into Bobby Kotick's, yachts and stuff. They probably used the money from stores to buy some nice paintings in his yachts. Now it's going like to Microsoft. And for all intents and purposes, Microsoft has its milk coming from other cows. But I will not negate the fact that, and I don't want to shit on anyone's work. So this looks amazing. Like the artists who did this, rigging and all of that, it's all good. What I hate, and I'm a big fan of capitalism, don't get me wrong, but I hate it's an MMO where you have to like put in the work to get the coolest things. Some of the coolest things, unfortunately, are in the store. And this is the same for Diablo and many other games.
Oh yeah.
But one big topic is this one. Maybe we can make like an actual full-on dedicated video about this, because I have a lot of like bad blood with the in-game purchases and stuff like that. Like, okay, you're putting all of these transmogs in the store and mounts and whatever, and you're not gonna give me a goddamn dyeing system to color my armor however I want in game.
that's the real issue at hand.
I mean, come on, man. This is the thing.
Yeah.
You're allocating resources to make the store, very, very appealing, and you're putting a lot of like people there to work on that specific situation. Mounts, transmogs, packs, whatever, bonus tenders. Fuck you. Just put in that work and make some good actual customization systems within the game. You're going to give me this beautiful mount? Fine. Then give me the option to make myself a mount. How about that? They started off with that thing in, what's it called? The flying
Sandstone
machine.
Drake?
No. The one in War Within where you customize it.
Oh, you mean like that with the roster thing?
Yeah, that's a step. Give me more.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I mean, they're definitely testing with the Del Dirigible, and they should have for more mounts, but well, hopefully it's coming into the future. Yeah, it's a dead horse because
it is.
It's
I know
like,
I know it is, but
so
it won't stop me just bursting out.
It's like creating the storm, keeping the storm mount creates like 20 units of dislike from people, but keeping it generates 200 units of money.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The balance is not there's like, sure, we understand that we obsess some people, but the amount of money that it makes,
it's hard. That's what I was saying. It's very hard for them to do anything on that front. It's very hard. It's impossible, right?
Yeah.
I understand that. I know now that in current day, this is the business model. This is the revenue system they have. Sure, once again, they do take a lot of money from subscriptions, but the biggest ones are the in-game transactions, and we know this. Yeah. And you can bet your ass the biggest and the most profitable is the WoW token. I can 100% guarantee you this.
It's an interesting world that we live in because gaming has evolved. Because from if you're like an old school,
I'm not calling this evolution. Don't you dare call this evolution,
dude. It went from not existing to existing, and now a lot of the games that live service games are doing.
That's not evolution. That's the birth of shit.
Well, call it as you may, man. Listen, we live in the same world that we have Volpera, so if you're gonna make games, be games, and don't make me feel like I have to like find 3 extra revenue streams to be able to afford playing this and having everything unlocked. The problem is that WoW is a completionist game, and you want to collect stuff.
And they know it. And they exploit that.
And that's why they do it, man. And it's kind of like it's Pandora's box, man. You're not gonna put it back in. It's open. It's done.
I know.
Even though there are definitely games that don't do this and they're very, very successful, but they're also like more or less niche, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, sure, let's not beat around the bush. You know, they have to make the money. You know, we understand how everything works in terms of like, you know, the corporate side of things. I just feel like, you know, for some, when I see a really cool object in a store, I kind of hate it because I know they could have put that somehow in the game.
We should have like a counterpart. At the very least have a recolor in the game.
But Flame, you have Battle.net currency.
That's so.
Yeah.
That is. I mean,
different topic.
I think. What was it? Just Joffstref Heist made a video with Diablo Immortal with how the currencies, how it preys on you. Never have enough to buy the next thing, so you always have to include the next pack in, and that's kind of how it is with it. Trading tenders. That's kind of how it is with the Battle.net currency as well. You never have 0 Battle.net currency after you make a purchase. Never. It's always there's a little bit there that makes you feel like shit. That's my money, and I'm losing it. Might as well put more to buy the next thing. So, you know.
It is what it is. At the end of the day, yeah, we working with this. It's fine. Once again.
Also, confirmation, Gingy was banned.
Oh, it was? Okay, yeah. He was. At the time when he tweeted, he said he wasn't. So they said, nothing happened to me. Well, I think, you know, it maybe was a couple of hours up until he got banned. Well, suspended. It's not a ban.
And anyway, it's people call it a ban if we say suspended. It's like, well, suspended, what does that mean?
Yeah,
words have meaning.
All right, delves. Have you people done delves lately? Did you do delves? Did you get to do all of the 8s and stuff? Let's talk about delves.
Oh my God.
I think a lot of people did delves. Yeah. I'm not sure where the community stands on this, if they love it or not. I've seen a lot of comparison to Torghast lately.
Oh, really?
On Reddit, on forums, a couple of YouTube videos, people are comparing this with Torghast.
It's not even close to being the same thing.
Let's look into it. Why would people compare this to with Torghast? Well, let's not address the mandatory Torghast or whatever. Let's just address, you know, the concept of Torghast and all of that.
If you want to find the comparison, you're going to find the comparison. Let's put it that way, right? So you could say that this is a difficult content that you have to grind to get player power from. But that's kind of where the comparison kind of ends, because as opposed to Torghast, this does not have an obligated game system in it. It's not the only way to farm renown. It's not the only way to get eye levels, whereas the Torghast was the only way to get your legendary. There was no other way to farm the soul ash or whatever it was in Torghast. So it's not even close.
But also, what I do feel people are confusing here is the fact that sometimes in those treasures you go into the delves, you get those upgrades or abilities or debuffs that look very similar to Torghast. Yeah, but like, I was a little bit baffled, but there was a lot of people posting and agreeing with this, that it is Torghast-like. Torghast was depressing. Torghast had the same color palette over and over and over. They did try the roguelike situation, but then didn't really go for it. Sure, it was, you know, exciting at first, especially on beta, but yeah, it was, apart from being mandatory and being tied to player power, let's forget about that, okay? Delves are super varied. They're like and the variations are also in them. Like, you can do waterworks. There's like 3 variants of waterworks, like doing different things. Mokti seen this. Like, one time we had to do one thing, and the other time we had to do different. And also, like, that's one scene and one spectrum of, you know, mobs and color palettes and vibe. And then, I don't know, you have the one in the Ringy Dingy, I forgot.
Ringy Dingy.
Yeah. Okay, the one in Isle-Drone, the one with the mushrooms.
Fungal Folly.
Fungal Folly, all right? Totally different thing. Totally different vibe.
No,
so
okay. No, I think people are capping. I think delves are much closer to dungeons than they are to Torghast by a long shot.
Oh, yeah.
Or even closer to scenarios than they are to Torghast. You actually have objectives. It's more dungeon-like, especially if you do it as a group. It definitely feels like a dungeon if you do it as a group. You can definitely solo it. I think delves are, whether you like it or not, delves are actually hitting the mark of what they're intended to do. They're intended to be content for people, because we've had this on stream as well, people chatting about it. It's supposed to be content for people that cannot, don't have the time to dedicate to pushing keys, to doing dungeons, to doing raids, and they want stuff that they can do solo and maybe with friends, but doesn't have to be one or the other, right? And definitely delves are both, and you can definitely solo and you can definitely do it with people. You can definitely choose the level and you get rewards. The fact, I think probably Growl said this in one of their podcasts, because they had like a whole bunch of podcasts there. The reason why M Plus was probably delayed and all of this stuff is just to promote delves, because
to get people doing it.
Is it a coincidence that the best gear you can get right now is from delves as opposed to
from Vault,
from heroic rating? Well, you can still get champion track from delves.
You want that hero track.
Yeah, but if you want that hero track, you don't do delves. You still do heroic raid because you get hero track there. But if you don't want to do raids, you definitely do delves, and it's better than dungeons, of course. So that's
it's weird to see this upward, and once again, I feel like the community is probably like fed up. There's this sentiment of not accepting anything. There was always like, and I feel it's like Blizzard faults as well for a lot of it, because let's face it, we were let down so many times up until Dragonfly, let's say, that the player base, a big majority of the player base has become a little bit jaded on this. But just going as far as in telling that and seeing it as a Torghast 2.0, that's crazy. I mean, first of all, one thing, this was designed for solo content. Now you can do solo content on them. But at least in my experience, it was way, way more efficient and more fun in a party.
Oh yeah, for sure. Speaking as a mage that gets clobbered to death by the non-elite kobolds shooting a fireball for 70% of my HP, doing it as a group is that's ideal.
But see, this is where they kind of like missed a little bit the mark, because it's if you want to make the truly solo content, make it count as solo content. You're a mage, you're going to have a bad time solo. So you're incentivized to look for somebody.
It's definitely not tuned across the board, considering all the classes. It can be done solo, but it's not the same. Like,
it's stressful.
I don't know how you do it. I can imagine it's not as stressful as it is, because I've done it on the. I feel.
But it felt way better doing it with Monkey.
Oh, for sure. I don't know how the scaling works, but I don't feel like it should promote playing solo, because at the same time, then it doesn't promote playing with your friends. So then you're like, what are we doing tonight?
Well,
we're not doing anything. I'm doing delves. Like,
exactly.
You don't want that
environment. I don't want that environment, but they sold it as that environment. Listen, if you want to play solo, you play solo. You can play with a group, that's fine, but this is the quintessential solo content for solo players. This is how they sold this. If you're going to come at me and tell me this, and when I go in solo, I'm okay, but then I try it with some other people in it, and it's way better.
Yeah, that's okay. So here's the thing. I'm gonna make some hot takes. First of all, delves. I love delves. I think delves are probably not my content in a couple of weeks from now. Or once I have like full hero track gear and I'm going for my myth track, I'm probably not gonna do delves as much. I do like the mage tower challenge and so on, but that's a whole different topic. With that being said, they did miss the mark on a bunch of stuff. First of all, Bran is not helping at all in healer mode.
He sucks.
As a damage dealer, Bran is nuts, dude. Bran is doing 70% of my damage overall. Bran executes elite bosses when it takes me 2 more minutes to finish the fight. So Bran as a healer does not actually help, especially for a class that has no self-sustain whatsoever. As a mage, outside of my ice block, I don't feel the health that Bran is shooting out the potions. That's doing absolutely nothing to my HP bar. So you're forced to playing Bran as a damage dealer. So progressing Bran doesn't feel like there's any actual progression. You can swap a cure here and there, but they're definitely not balanced across the board. And that you cannot not feel that, and that makes you feel like there's only one way to play the delves, and that's the correct way. And if you're going to play the delves the correct way, you're also going to be playing with people, because there are the problem that we have in Mythic Plus, we have it in delves as well, where there's just too many casts to interrupt. And if you don't interrupt, and you don't know this yet because you haven't played Mythic Plus, but wait until the next week comes in. If you don't interrupt a cast, you're dead. And there's 2 casts, and you have 1 interrupt. And if you're a caster, you're double dead. So that's how they missed the mark a little bit there when it comes to tuning. And it feels like it forces you to play optimally.
Oh, for sure. But Torghast? Come on, guys.
Yeah, no.
How can you compare it?
Torghast.
Okay, so some arguments were made that because it offers, apart from like Heroic Raid, it offers the best Great Vault option. Because of that, people linked it to mandatory. Well, this is how you get your power.
If you really think about it, the Community Feast in Dragonflight is like Torghast.
True.
It's the only way to get was the only way to get the flavor pocket back in the day, right?
Yeah, true. Okay, but I think it's very far-fetched, and I'm not trying to like get, I don't know, like super drama vibes here, but it does feel that sometimes people are pushing all of the negative stuff all the time. You know, why would you do? Because, like, again, you don't have to do delves. You want to, like, just go farm renown and get all of the renowns up until like 16 and 18, and you're good. You're gonna get super high gear prior to like the season starting, prior to like Mythic Plus going out. It's fine. Don't do delves. It's not mandatory. It's not linked to player power. It's optional player power. Yeah. It's as optional as your M0s or your normal heroic grades. It's that. Torghast, you had to do it. I don't know how many people remember this. You had,
and
like,
it was difficult.
And
if you failed, you were fucked.
Oh yeah, and it was repetitive as hell. And that was like the last like big chore like World of Warcraft. You don't feel you have to do chores now. Like I was doing like delves with Mokti, and at some point I said, dude, I want to do a world quest. You never had that in Shadowlands with Torghast. You had to finish that because you were left behind if you didn't do it.
It boggles my mind, man, especially after the latest video that we've posted. It feels like there's this community of people that are just disconnected. Like, okay, I'm not gonna shit on anybody. If you don't like the game, you don't like the game, and that's fine. You're allowed to not like stuff. You don't have to agree with everybody. But seeing people coming into either the YouTube comments or in our stream saying this is the worst expansion they played, like, it boggles my mind. Like, what metric system are you using to analyze and critique a game that you're seeing the War Within is like the worst, or is just exactly like Dragonflight? I mean, it's like this cup is exactly like this cup because they're both porcelain. I mean, at some point, sure. And we talked about this when we went to Gamescom and we talked to the devs. At least this is the feeling that I got. Like, you know, the devs actually put their heart and soul into it. And sometimes we as players end up being in like this bubble where everything sucks. The devs are out to get us. They want to sell us this bad game, and they just want our money to go into the in-game shop, right? But the game is actually really good, and I feel like we've been trained so much in the last couple of years to just like the systems, because what was there to do in Shadowlands? Just grind the systems.
And okay, we put out this video, the sad truth of modern WoW, and that was like basically a clip from last week's wrap up, where we talked about the fact that a lot of people are missing out on what is a beautiful game. The reaction we got to that video was like, oh my God, they're shitting on the game. It's like, that was the prime example of people commenting on the title. Now, obviously it's
also not watching, like, that.
I mean, the people who said that did not watch a video at all, because we were praising WoW. We were praising the story, the characters, the questing, everything. But we kind of underlined the tone of that subject in a title where I think I also like start the conversation, and it's a sad, this is my phrasing, sort of less paraphrasing, it's a sad state of affairs when people are just rushing everything out when clearly there is no need to rush, and you can just take your time and enjoy everything that's around. That was like the first statement.
The intro was very disclaimery, and it was about like 30 to 45 seconds of, you know, kind of having what would be characterized as a negative tone, but it wasn't really, because if you actually listen to the topic evolves. But I think this just proves that the YouTube attention span is very short.
I feel
it's definitely not lasting long enough for you to say like, but this is a good thing, right?
Dude, attention span is one thing. People have commented strictly on the title of the video.
But that's
right? This is so it was like kind of intentionally putting that title out there because I really wanted to test this out, and it came out positive.
It's an experiment, social test.
Yes. So first of all, it was like super disliked, one of our most disliked videos, and it was disliked because of that title. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no regrets of using it because that title represented the tone of our discussion. You know, for the biggest majority, the state of modern WoW for the biggest player is skip, rush everything. Let's go to the end game.
There's nothing left to do when it's Mythic Plus.
And we also said this in that video / discussion. This is how Blizzard trained us. This is how they built us for the longest time. You cannot expect your player base to just, oh, you want me to read the quest now? Oh, you want me to pay attention? It's not going to happen. This is why it's sad, right? Like, people took it so personally. It's like, oh, whatever. But it was a very interesting social experiment to see unfold, right? It was like, yeah. Anyways, just to like wrap it all up, like with the delves being Torghast and everything like that. No, delves are not Torghast, and no, World of Warcraft is not in a bad state. I think it's in one of the best states it has ever been. I'm thinking once again Legion times. This is the vibe I got and felt like in Legion. When I launched Legion after Warlords of Draenor, I was like, holy shit, this game.
We probably have to wait for the season to start, but I dare say that functionally it's better than Legion because Legion had a lot of problems at the beginning that people don't want to remember.
People don't remember. People do not remember.
People don't want to remember the fact that you couldn't play your character if the legendary didn't drop, and the guild said, oh, you didn't get your Beast legendary, make another character, level it up. It would be faster to get a second legendary on a new character than on the same one, and people did that. I know people who did that. People don't remember how grindy it was to go for your artifact power where you were tremendously behind on every spec, not other classes and alts, but all of your other specs were dead because they had 0 artifact power before they introduced catch-up. People remember...
And mustard.
People remember the past expansions based off their 0.3 patches, most of all, where everything was pretty much fixed, you know, ripcords being pulled off and things like that, which is great. That was basically peak of their particular expansions, but there were issues. There are not that many issues right now. The season hasn't really started. I still feel like there's some M+ drama that's gonna happen next week.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it.
When people discover that, hey, was that last boss in Arakara kind of hard? Well, how about when it's tyrannical and fortified at the same time? See you there, buddy. And I feel like there's gonna be like a realization when people get into that. But outside of that, functionally, the game is doing really well. All systems pretty much work. You're always gonna have bugs, and that's the irony and the fun part about it is that the game is so good that the few bugs that are there just stand out way more. Because we've had bugs in Dragonflight, we've had bugs in Shadowlands where things didn't work, like covenants were like messed up.
I'm not saying that is the norm, but really now, like personally, I haven't experienced any bug whatsoever, and the amount of bugs, okay, I didn't find, like when I saw what people were talking about in terms of bugs, dude, I mean, they were not that heartbreaking, not that game breaking.
Yeah, no. I mean, I have bugs, but I don't feel like the vibe that I'm getting from some people where this is like the buggiest expansion of all or something like that. Like,
no. It's all good. All right. Shall we go through the comments, or do you want to talk a little bit about the raid?
The raids. Are we gonna talk about the cinematic? I mean, we did do the raid. We cleared the whole normal.
And one heroic boss.
And one heroic boss. True.
Yeah, we didn't have the time. We cleared more heroic bosses. Don't you worry.
I think normal went a little bit too fast. I do want to mention. I think we released this video as well, where the raid mode, story mode of the raid is going to be launched next week. I think.
Or is it week 3? Is it week 3?
No, I think it's week 2 with the second wing of LFR. I might be mistaken, but I think that's when the season starts. And I really want to do that because I want to just take it chill, and I want to listen to the voice acting because
it's an interesting game mode to try out.
Yeah,
for sure.
If you really think about it, there's in a raid usually you have a lot of voice lines. Like a famous raid is Emerald Nightmare from Legion. I don't know if you did it at the time. There were a lot of like voice lines that hinted at Anduin being corrupted, at Sylvanas going nuts. And that was like an expansion before all of it happened. And usually you 100% miss these whenever you go through the raid. And there's not enough time to get everything in, like all the dialogue options that happen between NPCs. At least I usually miss them. So going through it as a story mode feels great because the way we did it, we just blasted through it. Like I didn't have time to understand what most things were.
Well, yeah, of course.
Bosses died in under 3 minutes.
Listen, okay, we're in a Mythic progression guild. Obviously, nobody's going to sit around and look at chat and you know what dialogue there is. So we're kind of expecting to go through this. But I think that's a really cool option with the story mode because it will give us the possibility to take it slow-mo. Now listen, normally we wouldn't do this, right? Like normally we were part of that crowd where, okay, for next end game, level up, you know, just get me to the end game. That was us as well. We're then convinced, both of us at least, to like just give a chance to what's happening around, to how the characters work. And this was our vibe as well for the raid. So we were kind of expecting. I love the raid. I love the look of it. Mokti didn't really like it that much. Probably hates spiders and bugs or some.
Arachnophobia. But you can look at crabs though.
But the fights, like, okay, we played on normal and first boss Ulgrax on heroic, but you know, obviously we looked at you know, the mechanics on mythic and all of that, and it looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And in terms of like, you know, how it links to the story and everything that's happening, I kind of like it. I kind of, you know, the what is it, Dawnbreaker dungeon? Is it like the big bug is like, you know, mechanics from there. Also in
the Russian was
so a lot of like well, how can I put this? A lot of familiar context is being translated into the raid, which, you know, it makes it even more happy that I stayed and paid attention to all the details.
You feel connected to the world because like there's consistency, right? It feels like the mobs are real because like the Frostbolt is the same whether you're in a raid
Frostbolt or Frostbolt?
Frostbolt.
Frostbolt.
That's how cool people say it.
Yeah.
No, it was actually really cool. It gave me Castle Nathria vibes. It's not Castle Nathria, but it did give me that cool, like I'm constantly going through levels of this whole place. Some of them are crashing. We're falling down into the black blood part of the head, and we're going back up.
It's cool. It's cool, and it's every time I go into the Ashkahet city where the raid is and everything, I just love that zone. I just love the construction. I really hope they're gonna do some sort of Suramar situation over there because it feels like it. Not in the same sense because that was open world and all that. This is more claustrophobic. We know all of that, but I love the architecture. I love the
It's an actual culture they've built there.
Yeah, dude, the Nerubians, the whole culture. Yes,
the
everything
amount of
is
like side quest NPCs that just give you to like daily tasks. Like you do quests there in the City of Threads, and you do quests from like, oh, let's stop a Queen Ansurek, and there's like, oh, do you know how our tailors work in the City of Threads? Well, you need to help that tailor. And there's a laboratory.
I know that. I know that.
They thought about all of this. They actually created a living world there in that little city. So it feels like you're more connected to the Nerubians.
It would be a shame if they don't go even further with it. That's all I'm saying.
For sure.
They put this out there, and you know, maybe in further patches something can evolve. Like after, you know, we defeat Ansurek and we defeated her on normal, but after we defeat her on Mythic and we get to the next big patch and whatever, I hope they just don't kill that city. You know, have some sort of like continuation for it.
Yeah, hopefully it remains relevant for the rest of the expansion. But overall, it was nice. I mean, I kind of want to get into the Mythic before I can have an actual opinion of how the raid feels.
Yeah, but first impression was good. Yeah. I remember. I have to say, Sanctum of Domination. Like even the first time I have entered that felt shit. It felt shit. Apart from. I always forget his name. Painsmith, yes, which was the best fight I've played in years. Apart from that, I felt like I was in a big, massive Torghast run.
That was what they wanted for it to happen.
I hated it, yeah. But even even when we started on normal, I think when we started Sanctum, we were like directly went on heroic, if I'm not mistaken. And even like that, you know, first impression really do count, and I love this. I just love this raid. But anyways, let's go into like what people said, comments, if you have like any notifications.
All right.
We missed around. Wrapping it up.
Although we didn't miss you, we know you were there. Percy with a 56-month resub.
Oh my God, Percival, like super OG. He's been with us, I think, not from the YouTube days. I'm not sure, but definitely when we moved officially to Twitch, he was there. Yeah. And I remember. I remember Percy like playing a fire mage, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, he was
a fire mage before he was all.
He was also a bear before he was a fire mage. I remember the dungeon days in BFA.
I don't remember that, but I remember his fire mage because that was like his first wallpaper. Man, that wallpaper is very cringe now, Percy, but for the time it was really good. I know. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for sticking around, buddy. Yeah.
Squeaks with the 3 months as well. Thank you, Squeaks.
Like Squeaks, hope you're still here. Well, probably this has happened way before when we were talking, but you know, maybe people are not even here. But you're gonna see it on the VOD.
But stay and play. Also subscribe for the first time with Prime. Love you, buddy. Welcome to the team.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Regarding suspensions, we have a comment here from Hey Dimu. They fully deserve getting banned for exploiting since it's for a competition. And yes, I feel like the 4 days don't really have any impact because there will still be a few days to boost those players. And if they have a bigger roster, anyways, yeah, I think that's what we were talking about because do you want to ban them more because that would kill the race world first for a lot of companies and for the players invested in.
That's why we made that argument.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Sure, they probably could have been banned more, but it's a very tough side. We agree. I mean, I also agree the exploits should be banned. Let's not create this world where I just gotta exploit until they find out that I'm good until then and get that little edge. That just feels shitty. I don't know.
And it's not the first time it happened, by the way. So we were saying that when shit like this happened in the past by Race to World First Guild members, they just got their gains taken away, and that's it. So yeah. What else?
All right. From the WoW store topics, we have Melanie. We'll see it in the trading post in like 12 months. No worries. Oh, you mean the bear? Oh, the 12 months.
Well, yeah. See, but yeah.
And if it's blue, it's gonna be stupid because it's probably gonna be a recolor.
They're gonna recolor it. It's gonna be stupid. Yeah, sure. I know a lot of like previous store stuff is getting into the trading post with recolors and stuff. Listen, that's not the point. What I would love is to have, whenever they introduce new cool stuff, have it in game. I miss do you remember the last time when you had to like really work for a cool mount in the game? Like really work for it. Not the quest you recently had.
For sure. That was it's been a while since we did that, and I definitely
that's what I'm saying.
Well, in a grand scheme of things, it would be nice for us we play a premium price for a AAA game with a subscription on top of it, for us to not feel like there's content outside of this price range that we have to like fork for more. I do understand the concept of maybe people wanting to support them a little bit more if you have a little bit more cash, but whatever. But I don't feel like I'm missing out because I don't pay more than what the game is offering. Like fundamentally, it's wrong, but it's how the cookie crumbles. From Zdormor, let's be honest here, it's not like Blizzard would not have jumped on the microtransactions wagon anyway, regardless of Activision.
I don't think so. See, this is where I will strongly disagree. I don't think so. Their philosophy was way different.
Back in the day.
And listen, if nothing else, they have the track record up until that point to prove it. Okay, they could have went on that route way before Activision, started jumping in, and they had the games to do it, but they didn't. I mean, at the core of it, like the OGs of Blizzard, I strongly believe this. And again, if nothing else, their track record up until 2008 can prove this. They never went into that, and they were one of the most successful gaming companies back then as well. Like, okay, we're living in different times now. The internet was not that prevalent. There wasn't like the concept of purchasing a lot of stuff online was still, but they were top company. They were big money. Okay, this is not something that you cannot imagine like Blizzard being a small company back then. They had dude, Blizzard, when something was announced by Blizzard up until 2008.
Everybody creamed their pants.
Yes, they were highly regarded. Now, I know about the other truth of the matter. Like, a lot of the people working there were not treated correctly. A lot of abuse. A lot of exploitation. Bad salaries, all of that. That also kind of coincidentally started to happen after the Activision, but I'm not going to get into that. If you guys want, we can make an episode or a show sometime talking about the history of Blizzard, the good and the bad, because I know everything.
Yeah, that is public. You made a documentary. Well, Stormor is actually answering with the philosophy of every company was different back in the day. True, but at the same time, there are companies today that don't do this and have successful games. And if those companies exist today, then Blizzard would probably be the same at this. Because at the time, Blizzard was the pioneer of good game design, good practices when it comes to making awesome games and not predatory means and anything like that. And if they did that before, and companies do it now and don't feel like they need to hop on the bandwagon of microtransactions, then I pretty strongly believe that Blizzard would not have that big of an incentive that people might think.
Yeah.
All right. From Mr. Nickback. I don't mind paid stuff. More options, the better, in my opinion. Some have the money to burn, and that's fine. I can see the both sides of the argument, though. So here's where I think I'm also not going to be agreed by a lot of people, but I think games should be games. And I don't.
Stores should be stores.
I don't agree with the philosophy of I don't have time to grind. So if I have a job, why can I not use my disposable income to get the grind or get the pleasure of the game? I don't necessarily agree with that, because then we just make games not be games anymore. Games should be games. If you don't have the time, you don't get to play the game. That's how I feel. And I know I'm not going to make any friends with this type of mentality, but this is why we loved the games. This is why we loved the grind, because we knew that our efforts would be rewarded. Whenever you shortcut things, you think you're doing yourself a favor, but you're actually devaluing the end goal and end price, and also the journey to get there, because that's how the brain works. If if it's not worth it to put in the effort, then you're not going to value it as much. So I don't agree. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but games should just be games.
He will take it to the chin when he doesn't agree with you. Big chin.
Have a chin.
Chin.
From Jesse104. Delves have been awesome and a great way to have something different to do or play with friends and not have to establish a full group. True, it's very flex.
Dude, the biggest win for Delves, and I felt this because years and years of grinding Mythic Plus, there's no timer. You can take your sweet time.
Oh, can take
and
shit.
Whatever, this is I think that's the biggest win. And you can get to, like, when you do the bountiful ones or the higher tier ones, there's some pressure there, but there's no timer. It's so comforting. It's like, okay, we almost died now, let's just take a chill moment.
It was definitely weird because we did it today on stream, and I was like, I just want to get up and get a cup of coffee, and I know that this run is not going to be failed because I do that. And I was like, oh
that's
shit,
there's
win. No timer. That's right. And it was an adjustment period.
That's the biggest win. Oh, there's a lot of wins, but I think that's the biggest W. So yeah, in terms of like the solo content stuff, they're good.
There's a lot. And also, we didn't say this, but Delves have a potential to actually be evolved if they actually work on it. It's a nice
Well, they said they will.
Yeah, obviously we're going to have new delves and new progress every season, that they're going to be a seasonal thing, but I really hope that they use this model to add, like, if you guys haven't done the Zekvir layer yet, you can see that it's very different than your regular delve. It's not a delve anymore. And they can use these types of things to create a new type of content. They can tell stories from it. They can reward more cosmetics from it. They can reward mounts and stuff. They can use it as content for people that used to just go and farm old raids to do delves instead and be engaged with the new content.
I agree, and hopefully they work on it, and then so on and so forth. I can see this transforming shortly, but
it can go either way. But we hope that.
Yeah, but going a little bit into the mage star territory, just a tip.
Just touch the Zekvir's layer, you'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Nickpack again. It's nothing like Torghast. They're actually fun and serve a purpose. That's a very good point.
Torghast also served a purpose, but it like made you a slave for it.
That was a very interesting way, because Torghast was very fun in beta, and we always say this, and I think everybody says this that tested it in beta, and
Don't remind me. That was
it's weird because it's not the same Torghast. So the reason why Torghast is different than Delves is because when it initially was introduced, Torghast was kind of like not really, because
procedurally generated bullshit.
But that's fair. But the roguelike kind of retains your progress, so you can use it in the next run to advance past the previous point. Torghast didn't do that. But what Torghast did,
because you had the powers and they kept it up. It was they try. You cannot do that. If
you end the run, you end the run, you start from zero again. That's what I mean. Yeah. But the reason why Torghast was fun is because it felt endless. It felt like you see how high you can go, and the powers were random. And that was nerfed when it hit live server. So a lot of people didn't actually get to play the regular Torghast, whether or not it was gated behind, a power system. Everything was squished. All the powers were nerfed.
It would have been great, even with the power attached to it, if they kept it as in beta, because beta was crazy town.
Sure, I did Torghast to farm a mount or to farm like a sword for my transmog, in Dragonflight, and I did it just whatever.
Oh my God,
I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure. What? It was fine. I farmed like the cool little edgy swords.
Oh, I have
very good for DK stuff.
I have it.
So when I did Torghast and I didn't feel like I needed to grind the Soul Ash or to grind my weekly stuff, I was like, oh fuck, this is actually not that bad. It's still Torghast, it's dark colors, depressing stuff, but the mechanic of getting the powers, of seeing how fast I can run through the mobs.
It's supposed to be dark and depressing because it's hell. It's hell.
Yeah, so yeah, for sure, they're not even close to being like those.
No.
Jangmo, after hearing you guys talk about it, I bought it. Lol. After hearing us talk about WoW, you bought it as
what did you buy? WoW or did you buy the mount? This is the question.
I think this is when we were talking about the delves. I think our boy here just bought the game.
Are you really?
That's really dope, man.
I mean,
Listen,
if that's the case, we're super happy. Like we see this from time to time in comments and stuff, like, you guys made me join WoW again, or I don't play the game anymore, but I still watch you guys because you keep it interesting or whatever. Maybe I come back because of you guys. It's really humbling to see that. But once again, the game is, we see the game differently. When we talk about it like this, we try to talk about it from the standpoint of two players, right? In a lot of cases, we talk about World of Warcraft from the eyes of observers, like content creators, and it's a little bit different. Like we're talking about tier lists, or talking about our experience going through all of the expansions and grinding it out, with all of the borrowed power and stuff like that. I feel like even for us this time around, where we did talk about the War Within prior to the season starting, we genuinely went from a place of gamers, of being excited once again for World of Warcraft, and taking our sweet time and enjoying everything that the game has to offer.
I mean, I did that in Dragonfly, but I was not incentivized to finish.
I tried to as
this
well.
This is the first time I finished a game, actually.
Dude, it's like I have no more quests. That never happened. Never, ever happened.
It's nice, right, to have your quest log empty.
Yeah, true. Well, I have the dailies, but that's a different story.
Brian Young, it was nice to be able to stop in the middle to have dinner with the family and then pick back up right where I left off.
Exactly. That's exactly the biggest W.
That's who the delves were made for, and that's great. Listen, that's the community that might feel incentivized to pay for WoW tokens to get the gear that they don't have time to grind. How about you do a delve? You still get to enjoy the game and you get cool rewards at the end. You might not get myth track, but come on, dude. Oh, So Breezy's rating us with 136 people. What up,
Sol? Long time no see, man. Welcome, everybody. We're basically talking about everything that we talked about earlier.
We talk about what we talked about.
Yeah. We're talking about World of Warcraft, and we're talking about delves. So if you want to join the conversation, it's all good. Sol, hope you had a good stream, buddy. I don't know what time is it over there. Is it morning?
It's probably afternoon or noon there.
I cannot see the chat, but I'm super happy. Super happy. I'm getting the Sol people. And hey, Sol!
Sol saying that hope we're well. Hope you're well too, man.
We're great.
Keep the profession videos coming, man, because we need the help, man. Get that profession rolling. We see you there.
Yeah. Sol. I said this to him in our podcasts. When we did it with him, I'm telling him again, one of the best voices in the WoW content creation community. Period.
For sure.
Dude should have been a radio host as well. Why did they not take you on Race to World first to cast that with that beautiful voice of yours,
Oh
man?
my God.
Can you imagine Sol casting over there and talking about what's happening? I mean,
I'll just constantly have it rolled in the background.
Yeah. You should make that happen, Sol. I'm telling you. But
sometime.
Yeah. Everybody that wants to just stick around. Unfortunately, we're kind of getting close to the end, but we still have like a couple of things to go through, hopefully, like from the comments and stuff. We were talking about delves and how cool they are, and how the biggest W for delves is that they don't have a timer. So right now, before the next week, when you get to do Mythic Plus and stuff being like the best grade vault option, apart from heroic rating and whatever, having to do a delve that is maybe a little bit more difficult, tier 8 or tier 9 or whatever you want to go, and not be pressured by the timer is really great. We had I cannot remember who said so, that they stopped in the middle of it to go to have dinner, which is beautiful.
Brian Young,
Brian
thanks, Sol. Enjoy your lunchtime, everybody. You gotta check out Sol's channel, both his Twitch and his YouTube. Particularly, he does a lot of cool video content on stuff that we don't usually cover because it's not really our jam. But stuff like professions, for instance.
And he also does news roundup and all of those. It covers a lot of topics. YouTube.com/@SolSoBreezy, if I'm not mistaken. Please check him out. Beautiful, lovely dude, man. We should catch up with Sol. It's been so long. I loved our podcast with him.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we had I think 2 episodes or 1 with him. I cannot remember. Maybe 2, maybe 1. Yeah, we have a podcast. I think that's on the Mokesh channel.
That was in Shadowlands. It was a long time
ago. Yeah, long time ago.
During the dark ages.
But the love is still there. Don't you get it twisted.
Love you, Sol. Take it easy, man. Have a nice lunch.
Thank you, Sol.
Okay, She Wild Wolf said, but suppose you only played solo. Which is the best class to do solo delves with with Bran as DPS. From my experience, and then you can also say, I would recommend a class that can either tank or that can self-sustain.
Yeah, self-sustain. I mean, there's a lot of them. I play DK with it. It's fine. I can handle it. I did a tier 8 solo. It wasn't stressful, but I did.
Our experiences are so different, man.
I know, man.
I creamed my pants. I barely survived the last boss of a tier 8.
But the thing is, as you know, you have sustain as a, first of all, you're very tanky as an unholy DK. You should survive a lot more, but you also have dead strike. Okay, so if you manage your resources correctly, you're fine. Then you also have like paladin who can also like do really well. And if you're really like going with these plate specs, right, you can also go for the tanking options. I think druid can also do a really good job on that. Like if you go for guardian, you can for sure.
Probably,
like,
yeah.
A spec that like I think like casters have a bad time, like flame, like with this mage, but like to be super safe and not have a headache, like okay, DK can get a little bit complicated with the resource management.
I would say Paladin would have a
Paladin would be
time.
the best. Yeah,
I feel I did it with Prod and I felt like.
Oh yeah. So if you go Prod Paladin, it's fine. Which is weird because Soul is a Prod Paladin.
Yeah, that was actually just thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a good testing ground. You can just play a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't know if people would change their class just to do delves. I mean, you probably might want to farm it on an ult, but maybe that's where you go experiment. I was actually, for the first time in a long time, I was actually looking at my talents and like, how can I make this delve run smoother? I was like, I can take a little bit sustain from that barriers over there, and I can take a little bit of movement there because I'm not going anywhere because the big boss is running faster than I can run. So that was probably it. DK is probably the strongest, probably. That was pretty much all. So eventually what this is, guys, at the end of the chats, we usually go through the questions that we've missed. So if you have anything that you want to ask, well, ideally regarding the topics that we covered,
ask or comment on you can put your input and
we can debate it, like, you know, the store comments that we
for sure. It's not only like, okay, ask us questions, not about that. Like if you have your opinion on something during the show, that's fine. And you know, for people who came from like the Souls raid and still stuck around. So this is basically every Thursday we do like a wrap-up show. This I would call WoW Wrap-Up, where we talk about all of the happenings that, you know, were most important in World of Warcraft for the week prior. We talk about it a lot and discuss and debate, and at the end we look at, you know, comments and questions and everything that was happening during our chat. We don't really look at the chat on this show specifically. Flame, when he streams, looks at chat, but
I see your nerds there. Some things I can respond to, some things I probably have to wait.
Well, we have to be like laser focused on all of the things that we talk about to not just, you know, ramble and bamble all the goddamn time.
There was one question that I just remembered. Brandon asked, because I heard there were some layoffs going on at Xbox. He was asking if any of one of those layoffs happened to WoW. I don't think so.
No. Blizzard was not affected. No, Blizzard not. WoW was not affected. Not Blizzard. I think there was this. The survival game. You know, the super secret survival game they teased back in the day. Yeah, that was affected. I think that's canceled if I'm not mistaken. So, but from the pipeline, okay. So if we're gonna go there, there are some whispers and rumors. Some internally, some from people who know some people that know some people that we cannot really give any names. They are working on a couple of cool ass games. Warcraft franchise among the biggest to be worked on.
And that's not Warcraft Rumble, by the way.
Attention,
class.
Double A, so not triple A. So it's more indie-like approach.
That's fine.
Which I am so down for. Like imagine Hades, which was indie, by the way. I don't even know.
I don't, but
Yes.
From the aesthetics and from the lack of
they got big.
features,
They got big, but it was okay. Imagine Hades. Okay, a project like Hades with Warcraft in it.
Oh, dude.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Imagine a fighting game with Warcraft character. Come on, man. Mortal Kombat. No, Visceral. You know. I can go on for days. No,
I'm just gonna shoot frost bolts while you try to get to me.
No, it's gonna. It's a lot of projects that's been worked. None of them. A lot of them are going to get canceled. But it's just like the layoffs from Xbox, that was a while ago. I think we even talked about it in one of the wrap-ups, touched on it briefly. WoW was not affected at all. En contraire, WoW is like expanding even still. But there's also, I think Riker talked about this, there's also some sort of like new project that is like an action RPG first person like. And
Okay.
there was a dude that was leading this project. He had something in the lines of, on his LinkedIn, he had something on the lines of lead project designer for 3D action RPG Diablo universe.
Oh shit.
That was immediately erased. So something is cooking in a lot of departments. Now, what we know for sure, there is a AA Warcraft game being worked on, and it's not for phones, so it's more like indie approached. And some rumors are that there's also a proper RPG, single-player RPG in the Warcraft as well.
That would be
Rumors, once again, and all of these that we're talking about here, this is going to be years away, okay? But if some of these are being green-litted after the initial phasing and projecting and layering of it, BlizzCon 2025 might be a thing, and it would be a thing because of these.
Oh, that would imagine, man. Imagine.
At this point, they cannot announce nothing new for World of Warcraft because we already know the new expansion.
Yeah,
So they need the bangers.
Just future patches, kind of like how it used
Yeah.
to be. But that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover.
Yes.
What a wonderful week we've had, and we're gonna be
Crazy.
back next week with Mythic Plus released, and let's see how people take that.
We cannot wait to see your guys' reactions on the Mythic Plus keys and scaling and tuning. So we're definitely going to have another wrap up next Thursday, 7 p.m. CT, 10 a.m. PST. Every Thursday, yeah. And tomorrow we're going to have Flame streaming, as you know. Tomorrow we're not going to have Flame. Tomorrow's stream is not going to happen
canceled, yeah.
because we're going to go to Sun. I don't know how many people are remembering Sun. She was part of the Marcelian team. She's still part of the Marcelian team in spirit, but she kind of went and did her own thing. But we're still friends, still talk a lot. And she just had a wedding, and we want to go and congratulate her and, wish her all the best.
Having
and
less
chat.
time to play WoW.
Less time to play WoW so I hope she appreciates it. But yeah, Sun, we're gonna visit her tomorrow, so there's no stream tomorrow. But Saturday is gonna be community raid.
I will be raiding with you guys, and
It's gonna happen. It's gonna be
learn
fun.
the tactics.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's looking at you. You know who you are. All right. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you everyone who stuck around from Seoul. Hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to follow us because there's a lot more of this. You unfortunately caught us at the end of the show. Thank you, Arja, for doing all of the community situation thing.
Appreciate it.
All that's happening over there. We shall catch you next week and catch Flame on Saturday. Have a great evening, morning, all that jazz. What's it called? See ya. Bye. I'm gonna press a button now. Bye. Bye. Don't look at that ass. Look at that ass. All right. Bye.